this is something I could do, and confidence started to install in me, and I just kind of was like, man, let's run with it.
Today we have on the podcast Tyler Terrazas. Tyler runs PAL Boxing Gym in Vallejo, California, and his own brand Punch with Purpose, which is used to promote boxing and lifestyle as a fighter, in and out of the ring, as well as clothing and various fighters he trains. He is a 2-time state PAL champ, 2-time junior Olympic boxing champ, and was ranked 3rd overall in 2004, and recognized as a diamond champ who finished with a final record of 47-13. We are excited to have him on the show today to talk about growing up as a boxer to becoming a business owner.
Tyler, thanks for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. When Roland brought up you would be a potential guest, I was super stoked because I went to the Fight for Life event that y'all had. Yeah, I went there, and then I saw you doing your thing, and then you looked like a guy the community was really leaning towards, and everyone was talking to you, and it looked like a really great event. So thank you for coming. Before we get into your life story, your upbringing, all your endeavors with business and such, the coronavirus, it's been impacting a lot of small businesses. Talk to me about how it's impacted your small business.
I closed the gym on yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Bro.
we closed for the rest of the month.
Damn.
But I'm doing personal training still,
Okay.
and I'm training our competition fighters.
Nice.
So, it's real limited training. We fist pumping.
Right.
There's no handshakes and stuff. Man.
What day was it that it was Friday that you were like, okay, it's time, we gotta shut down?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because, we probably have, 100 people come through the gym on a daily basis.
Really?
Because we have classes. I do classes every day of the week, so
Yeah.
it can get pretty packed in there.
Yeah.
The walls will start getting a little condensed,
Dewy,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Dewy, and then
Yeah.
the windows start getting fogged up, and I'm like, man, the last thing I need is a case in here, man.
Right.
So
Right.
we did our best for as long as we could, because I started to notice. But then once I saw, that national breakout, and Trump on TV, it was like,
yeah.
okay, maybe it's a little dangerous to keep it open. So
Yeah, I just got a house under contract yesterday, and they were like waiting to sign. They're like, hold on, we're watching this
Right.
first before we sign. And they ended up signing. It was all good, but I know a lot of people were watching that, and it's like kind of stuff you see on movies. Really, it's kind of trippy.
yeah, man. I didn't even tell anybody. Like I put it on social media that we were closing on the gym page, and some people showed up, but it was the kids aren't in school anymore. That was their last day, so
Yeah.
I shut it down.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to sound like a skeptic with it because I know it's bad. Yeah, I know all this stuff, but it's just crazy to see how the social media has just been making such a big deal about it. There's a lot of other things that they could have made a big deal about, but like this one, toilet paper is out of stock completely. It's like so crazy, right?
Man, it's wild. And what's funny too is like the boxing gym is almost like a barbershop.
Yeah.
So everybody's got their opinions, man, right?
Okay.
And they want to share them with me. So like I'm sitting there, and like parents will come up and be like, man, it's conspiracy theory.
Right.
Oh, man, Trump is gonna find the antidote.
Biowarfare.
Right, and I'm like, man, bro, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like,
mean?
give you some
Like,
answers.
exactly. I was
Yeah.
like, man, I can only
Yeah.
give you, my opinion, bro.
Yeah. So, that stuff's tough too, right? Because you got so many kids coming in there, and that's taking time off the parents and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
what has that been like? Were they super disappointed? Obviously, most people are going to respect your decision to close
because
the...
like for the dues, people pay in the beginning of the month. So
Yeah,
we
Okay.
prorated it. I told them
Nice.
I prorated, so next month it'll be like less, a lot
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
But yeah, most of the parents were pretty much on board with it because they know that the schools are out.
Yeah.
So they're
Yeah,
gonna
what
have
else
their
do you do?
kid. But in my mind, I was like, man, you know what? These kids, if they're not here, what are they gonna be doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
Most of them will be sitting in front of the TV,
All day.
or YouTube now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
All right, so why don't we start off by telling us a little bit about your upbringing, what got you involved with boxing at such a young age, and kind of how that led to where you're at now.
Yeah. I started boxing when I was 7 years old. My dad, he had a passion for boxing, and so he shared that with me. And that's when I first started. I didn't want to do it, just like any other kid who wants to go out there and get hit in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started over in North Vallejo, and actually my first month they closed the gym, and it took them a couple months to find another location. We opened up on Mare Island, which is a sports center, which is closed now.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so
which is devastating because I went there a lot as a kid.
man,
A lot of generations.
Yeah.
Go through that.
they have all the sports you could think of, basketball, soccer,
Right.
and for one time we were in there for a couple of years in boxing, and I remember grabbing a jump rope, man, and just like all these other kids, not knowing how to jump rope.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where I learned how to jump rope. And I think that's like the biggest thing is, you know, just starting something.
Yeah.
And so when I got started, man, that's really what got me going was, you know, honestly, Pokemon cards.
Oh,
My
what?
dad would be like, man, you go right after, we're going to go pack of Pokemon cards. You know,
incentive.
Yeah.
so,
awesome.
you know, it was cool, man. And I just remember, you know, at one point once I got past, you know, the Pokemon cards and started kicking some butt,
Yeah.
you know, I wanted to be there.
Right.
You know, I started to see a little bit of fruit of my labor there. And I was like, man, this is something I could do, you know, and confidence started to install in me. And I just kind of was like, man, let's run with it.
Right.
I was competing all the way till I was about 16. At one point, I was nationally ranked.
Yeah.
And, you know, my dad he pushed me. And there were times I didn't want to do it, man. You know, even as successful as I was, I would see kids, you know, doing what they want to do after school. And I had to stick to this regimen.
Yeah.
And I didn't really see the end goal yet. You know, I was just like, man, I'm winning and stuff. But, you know, I want to go outside.
Yeah.
I couldn't even ride a skateboard.
Really?
My dad would not let me ride a skateboard when I was a kid because he was like, if you twist your ankle, you're done.
Yeah.
You know? And we're
and we got this coming up next week.
Yeah, we got this tournament coming up. You know, we got to fight, and so it was a lot of sacrifice, man. And that's kind of what got me where I am now. It's like making sacrifices.
Yeah.
It's part of that lifestyle to be where you want to be.
Right. It's funny too because I mean, like I started playing football like a super young age, and I played it all the way up until like before high school. And I loved it, but I got super burnt out on it. I feel like when I got to that point of high school, I mean, there was other stuff that swayed my decisions too, of not doing it, but it was like, I felt, like, you know, there was nobody pushing me like as hard as like your dad was,
right?
But I still regret not going to that next level.
And I think starting at that young age, I got burnt out too.
Yeah.
By like middle school, it was just like one of those things, like I said, I wanted to go and do other things, and my dad was the one trying to just steer the path for me.
Right.
And, you know, my dad was not only my dad, he was my coach.
Yeah.
So there were definitely a lot of feuding inside that corner, you know, that a lot of people didn't see.
Yeah.
You know, especially even at home, you know, that relationship is hard. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that's what kind of made me almost a rebel against him, you know, at one point. So
when you see these kids that you're coaching, you're training, be burnt out, how like you were feeling back then, how you were just saying, what do you do to steer them to be like motivate them and get them on the, you know, get them determined and back and motivated?
Yeah, well, I think it would come from just when I was a kid, man. I look back on like, you know, consistently training, and when I did get burnt out, doing the fun stuff, man. Just remember just having fun in there. And the funnest part for me was fighting. So like I didn't want to hit the bag, I didn't want to jump rope sometimes. I just want to go in there and spar.
Right.
And I just want to go in there and, you know, just get straight to the game. Just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the training and stuff is really, you know, where the rigorous work. It's like the vigorous work. It's like, I don't want to be a part of that. Especially when you start seeing some success, you know, it's like, man, let's just go straight to the game. I'm ready, you know. And I think what kept me motivated and like talking to the kids now is just like, man, you may not feel like it. A champion never really, you know, a champion doesn't matter how he feels. He's going to do what he needs to do, you know. And I talk to them like that, and I just, you know, for instance, I ask them why they started. You know, I go back to the reason why. Day one, you know, I remember when they, you know, couldn't even jump rope, you know, like myself, and now look at you. Now you jump and rope. Right. You know what I mean? And, you know, for the young kids, it's just the beginning, because within a couple of years, just like any other sport, you start to separate yourself, you know. And I said, you're judging yourself early right now. You know, give yourself a couple of years, and, you know, if you get in high school and you're competing in boxing, there's a scholarship there for you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it's heck hard to even for them to see, I mean, like, take note of a scholarship. Like, at that age, you're like, well, all right, like.
Especially even in Vallejo, man.
Yeah.
You know, some kids aren't even looking at college.
That's deep.
You know, they don't want to go to college. They're just like, I mean, their parents didn't go to college.
Right.
You know, their parents are just regular workers. They're construction workers. They're working at Jack in the Box. And the dream is to be a pro. Yeah. You know, and it's. For me, I'm right there in their ear, you know, being a realist, and at the same time, I'm feeding that dream, man. You know what I mean? I want to see them. Yeah. I'd rather them be in there than going and doing something dumb, because.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever have some kids that you really, really like see like a lot of potential in, and then you'll kind of like, almost in a sense, take them like especially under your wing? If that makes sense.
Definitely, man. I have a couple kids in there that just, you know, they may have. I could tell they have one parent or they don't have any parents. Right. You know, and those are the ones that are just like wild stallions. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're wild, and they just, you know, you try to tame them as much as you can, but, you know, sometimes they're going to do what they want to do at the end of the day. And all I can do, and like I said, is just make it fun, man. And I tell them all the time, I'm not your parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to build that relationship where they feel like they can come to me and tell me, oh, man, I just got a girl. You know what I mean? And stuff like that, you know? And it's just like, because then, I mean, 10, 15 years ago, I was in the same position, man.
Yeah. So, did you ever have any family members that didn't like the idea of you boxing? I mean, there's all this stuff like CTE, stuff like that, which, I mean, at our age, we had no idea about that. But, when you were boxing, I mean, we had no idea about that. But.
Right. Man, my mom, my dad, so like my dad was like pushing me to do it, right? And my mom, she was kind of skeptical about it. And she was a black belt. She owned her own school. Oh, wow. She owned a Kaji Kimbo school. And I mean, that's just another story. So she taught me how to be an entrepreneur right there.
Wow.
But she didn't want me to do it. And so we pushed forward, and I went 0-2. I lost my first 2 fights. And my mom was like, I think it's time to retire. It's like, oh, my dad was crushed. We're getting ready to retire. We only had 2 fights.
Yeah.
And, the first fight I got stopped in the first minute.
Really?
Wow. And it's just crazy, man. And as we kept going, I started to have some success as an amateur boxer. And, she was my biggest fan, man. And I always heard her voice.
That's awesome.
So losing those first 2 fights, how did that feel? And how were you like, all right, I need to like come back, or were you like super discouraged?
I mean, bro, I can picture that day. I was listening to P. Diddy on the way up in my parents' van. That with Biggie in there. What song was it? Can't Stop, Won't Stop. What I mean? And I got my Walkman, and I'm listening to my music. I'm getting ready to go weigh in.
Did you have the hoodie?
Yeah, I had the hoodie on, man. Like, I'm in the sliding van. It's like an old beater caravan. Right. And I remember losing, and then I remember on my way back, like driving back in my dad's slug bug, just crying.
Damn.
Wow. You know what I mean? And it was raining, and it was dark, and I just remember crying, bro. And I never wanted to feel that way again.
Yeah.
And it was, I think it was more so my ego, being checked right there.
For sure.
Like, it was just like, man, as a boxer, it's not a team sport. It's a one-on-one thing. So one kid beat me up. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, I was training to beat him up,
right.
and it just all happened so fast, man. But yeah, and then the second time I lost, see that after that last one, and then the second one. That one went the distance, so I said, hey, at least I finished the fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was still 0-2, though, and like I said, my mom was on the fence about it. And we won the next 2 fights, so I went 2-2.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. So what was that the point you reached where you put boxing totally on hold? For like, you know what I mean? You were done. At what point was that?
I was 16 years old.
Okay.
And I broke my jaw.
Oh.
Wow.
And once I broke my jaw, man, I was like, dude. I had surgery. The doctors told me I had to take a year off. And, you're at the crossroads right there. It's very important. Guys are getting recognized at all these national tournaments.
Exactly.
And I was once at that caliber, so I'm like, man, I'm falling off. Like, that happened. I took a year off. I'm coming back. And I just remember, that year off, I was like, man, this is crazy. This was my life, and my life is on pause now.
Mm-hmm.
And coming back, I remember having that conversation with my dad. He was like, don't come in here 50-50.
Right.
And, the distractions were there too in high school.
Totally.
And so I just, I chose another route, man.
Yeah. So if you want to touch on it, was that the broken jaw was in the ring?
No.
Really?
It wasn't. No. It was it was at a skate park.
Oh, wow.
Right? And my grades were already slipping because I played football and boxing.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And, I couldn't play the first 7 weeks of my football.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was sitting on the bench. I was practicing and stuff, but I couldn't play till week 7. And it was like week 3. And I remember getting on the bus. We were going on a away game. And they were like, and one of my best friends gave me a call. He was like, hey, I need your help. And I'm like, man, forget this game because I can't even play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't even play. You know what? And I remember telling the guys on the team, I'll meet y'all there. I'll meet you guys at the game. And I never made it to the game. Like I said, it just ran into the wrong people. And one thing that I remember from that is, being in my bed, and my dad once again came into my room after my jaw was broken. He said, man, life is like an animal kingdom. Like, you could be a lion, but if you're outnumbered by the hyenas,
exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so, once again, I hurt my pride more probably than I hurt my jaw.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said you got a little distracted. What brought you back to getting on the right path?
Man, it took a couple of years, man. I think when I came back with a different mindset. I had went through an entrepreneurship program with one of my friends.
Yeah.
and he introduced me to some people, and they just taught me how to think differently, and they had different results. And so for me, it was like, man, I wanted to change the way I was thinking, man, because I wasn't gonna go. I went to college, I showed up, but I wasn't there.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because I had no end goal in mind.
Yeah.
I thought boxing was my way out, man, and you know, once that door closed, I started to just fill voids with you know, gratification, instant gratification. You know what I mean? And so once I got around some people that were just delaying their gratification and had the results, I wanted to listen. I wanted to learn, you know, and they taught me how to think. And then I was going through a series of jobs, and I was like, man, I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to work for anybody, you know? And so as I started realizing that about myself, after the entrepreneurship, and I started learning, and man, I got fired from my city of Vallejo job. I had a government job, and you know, it was cool. Everybody was telling me, man, T, you made it. You're gonna be retiring when you're like 60 years old, bro.
Which is not the thing you want to hear,
right?
When you're like 20 years old,
exactly. And mind you, I'm at that job telling everybody I'm gonna retire in the next couple of years, you know, because my entrepreneurship, you know, and those guys are just looking at me stupid. And so, you know, probably because I was opening my mouth talking like that, they fired me. You know what I mean?
Really? Because
they didn't want to have that type of talk around them. You know, those guys were stuck in their ways, and they said, you know, this is how it is, son. And if you're not going to go with us, you're against us. Right. And cut me loose, and I did what what I felt most comfortable with. I sat down in a chair like this and was inside the boxing gym. Yeah. I looked around the boxing gym and seen what I had left, you know, and I trained for a couple of days, you know, and I would go in and just spar, but that was just my ego. Yeah. You know, that was me just trying to prove that I could still do something. And I think I saw other kids that were there, and I started working with them. And that's just the start of like me starting to think differently, you know. I mean, I had that big business in mind. I never thought that I would be running that gym. Yeah. But I just wanted to come back and do what I love to do, and saw some other people that were loving what they did, you know, and
it's funny how that works too, because you kind of, it's like all that the kind of corny stuff you hear where like do what you love, or you know what I mean, and it'll everything else will come, and that's kind of really what happened to you, man, in a sense, right?
It is, man, and you know it came full circle, man. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, those walls of the gym were filled with me as a kid, you know, having success, and I didn't think much of it. You know? You know.
So you kind of just touched on that. You kind of just touched on that, which that's kind of how you started running PAL. If you want to go a little bit deeper into how you are now running PAL Boxing, and then what that process has been like with you kind of transitioning that into your own brand, and then taking it a step further with Punch with Purpose. Yeah.
So when I took over PAL, like I said, I had lost my job, and so I was in the gym full time. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't getting paid to do anything. Really? I was just loving what I did, man. I remember using my car to do Uber for 2 weeks, and I wanted to get that incentive, and I burned my car out after 2 weeks. Right. So I'm like, all right, I'm retired from Uber now. Yeah. So, miles, man. You know what I mean, man? And I'm like, why's my car ticking, man? Forget it. We got to get this guy right here. You know what I mean? And playing Crazy Taxi lasted so long, and then I was back in the gym, you know, and I just remember the previous director, he had been in my corner since a kid. You know, I was a little kid, and he was been there. And he was like, man, I'm getting ready to get out of here, man. You know, and he's getting ready to sell the gym to another guy, right? And but at this time, it's like this guy is a shyster, man. He's crooked, man. He wants the gym, and so there's some coaches out there that want to be bigger than their fighters, and he was noticed for he had that personality. Okay. And this gym here was open for our youth, and he was using it to train nothing but adults and just try to make money off of it, and not be part of the community. Yeah. Close the doors and just be very, intentional about making money. Yeah. Yeah. And I understand everybody has the reason why they're in business. That was his reason, and the previous director made a decision to say, hey man, I'm not going to sell it, I'm going to give it to you. Because I know what you want to do with this. I mean, I was raised in this program, so I know what this program can do. Yeah. Fortunately, there's a lot of kids in there, man, and I was thinking, man, how am I gonna train all these kids, man, And I created a structure. I created a class schedule, so that way that there was a routine here, that way people knew what time it was and who could be in there. And I started putting the kids in at a certain time so that way they could train amongst their peers. So their confidence would build and they wouldn't be intimidated by other people, older people.
Right. That's huge.
Yeah. No.
That's super huge. I know when I used to do jiu-jitsu, you know, it's right. Everything, dude. Like, you're sparring with, like, dudes who are, like, 30. I'm, like, you know, 16 or whatever at the time I was. So, and that's tough.
Yeah, because they're at the same skill level, but they're not mentally at the same level. You know, and you can't have that. And I made that decision because I remember being a kid, and there were so many other kids that had a lot more potential, natural ability, but they didn't have any coaches. Yeah. They didn't have a parent. My parent was with me. Yeah. And that was my coach. You know, so I think about, like, man, how many kids who are just not getting that, or not being influenced, or not being directed in the right way. How can I touch them? And so, like I said, making that structure and being able to have them all around me at one time. And my dad helps me out. He's one of my coaches.
Oh, really?
And so we have a relationship. You know, it's like we see little T everywhere. You know what I mean? We see little kids come in, and we work together, and we're coaching these kids, man. And like I said, it makes our relationship stronger. I listen to what, you know, he has to put, but at the end of the day, he understands that this is my domain, and he's willing to do whatever I want him to do.
That's cool. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you what your guys' relationship is like now after, you know, being your coach for so long and, you know, having your back and forth and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was my best friend, man. You know, and that's why it was kind of hard to be a parent too. Right. Because when my grades start to slip, my mom wanted to pull me back. Yeah. And, you know, so.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so bringing it back a little bit with the gym and your curriculum and stuff, me and Roland talk a lot about talent versus skill. And if, you know, natural born talent could ever, or if skill could ever beat natural born talent, talk to me about it, because, you know, you see this every day.
I do see it every day, man. I see a lot of kids with a lot of natural talent, and they're in there, and they don't come every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because they're so confident in their skills and their talent, I should say, that they don't need to show up. They don't. They feel that I don't need to show up. Yeah. And then I got other kids that are, you know, a little shorter and a little not as physically gifted. Yeah. You know, they're in there and they want to learn, and they're humble.
They got the work ethic.
They have the work ethic. You know, the difference between those, man, I would say, is if that kid shows up every day, I guarantee he'll be better than the kid who's not showing up. You got to show up every day. That's it. Yeah. I mean, champions show up every day, man. Whether they want to be there or not, whether they feel like it, they're going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we wanted to touch on too is what you've been doing with the Empress Theater in Vallejo, you know, and hosting fights there and stuff like that. Tell us what that process has been like.
Man, it's been great. You know, Punch with Purpose, man. It's still growing. It's one of the kind of like a promotions thing for me. Yeah. Okay. I'm using that as a platform to kind of separate myself from PAL. Right. So then that way I can become my own entity over time. Totally. But Kevin, he's the director down at the Empress Theater, and he had reached out to me, man. He's seen us at the gym, and, you know, I throw little shows at the gym. They're almost like sparring matches. It's a community night, really. It's a family night type of thing. It's more of like, hey, we're training. Both our doors are kicked open, you know what I mean? Come watch the kids work out.
That's cool too, because it's kind of like almost in a sense like a lead generation thing too, right? Yes. Like parents would come with their kids and like, hey, you know, if you think about boxing, come and check these kids out, right?
Exactly. And that's when I tell them we're offering adult classes. Yeah. You know, not just for the youth. And you know, people love the energy, man. I mean, you got kids in there that's their dream, and when you're around somebody who's a dreamer, you become a dreamer. For sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. You come around, that's, for me, man, that's the biggest thing, is just that contagious energy. You know, you can create that, man, and the bigger the people, the bigger the energy is. Yeah. That's why it's so important for me, too, when I do my classes, that don't show up late. Show up on time. Right. Because this energy that we have it's one. We have a whole bunch of people in here, but we're still one. Yeah. You know, and I think the power of one right there is just everybody being in there for the same purpose, for the same reason, to support our youth, our community. When we have events like that, it's special, man. Yeah. And he came to one. I invited him to one, and he said, man, I want to have something at the Empress. I want to have something at our theater. That's awesome. And, yeah, man, the kids, they get really excited, man. You know, I the way I went about it, I was like, man, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it big. You know, I ordered championship belts for every fight. Nice. Wow. You know, we get little team trunks, man. Everybody's suited and booted, wearing the same thing. And the Empress has like a special back room for us, where our dressing rooms for just Vallejo PAL. Yeah. And, you know, the kids feel like they're fighting in the pros. For real, yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And their parents and friends are right there in Vallejo. I mean, it's a great night, man. Yeah. So we're looking to do another one in September.
Oh, I'll be there for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So being a role model in Vallejo, how have you seen that? Like, so how long have you been just like running PAL? First off?
4 years now.
4 years. So in those 4 years, have you seen a difference of how people reciprocate you and like talk to you? Like, you know, because you're in like this position of, you know, like being a community leader and stuff.
Definitely, man. You know, I feel like the powerhouse is the gym. You know, as much as I am an influencer, I am influenced too. And so I make sure that I protect my energy, and that's why I don't really do too much marketing for the gym, because I believe that people who come there are looking for something. They're not looking to take something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? They're looking there to receive. You know, when you're there and you're looking to take, that's when things seem to get a little bit more, you know, materialistic, man.
Yeah.
And it's not this. It doesn't have the same value. You know, so that's why the marketing thing is, I market for here and there for our events, but mostly from the day-to-day stuff. But training, man, I want you to come there because you want to be there, not because you feel like, oh man, I need to go. And I need to go, you know, take something down there. You know what I mean? I'm not. If you're down there to take something, man, I don't want you here.
Right.
You know, you're here to give. You know, and that goes for the people that want to help. I got a lot of coaches that come in there, or guys that say they're coaches and they want to get paid.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean, man? And I'm like, hey, I mean, this is just something. If you don't have the love for it, man, just like anything else, it ain't real. It ain't gonna last.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So did you have you know, you said you mentioned your mom was you know, your strong business mentor of you. Did you like tell us a little bit about that process, and then tell us like if you had anybody else that kind of helped you with that transition of taking over PAL and running it?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't realize what my mom was doing at first. You know, she became a black belt in Vallejo, and she just wanted to be her own boss.
Yeah.
And she got a community center that she was renting out, and she just started her own stuff, man. I mean, it was crazy. She would bring me in from the boxing gym. She'd come and pick me up after I finished training boxing, and she said, hey, I want you to teach some of these kids down here at my karate school.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would come in and she would introduce me as an instructor.
Nice.
You know, and I'm training these kids that are older than me, man. You know, I mean, it was crazy. I mean, the discipline that she would install in these kids, though, you know, I started Kaji Kimbo. It was a Kaji Kimbo martial arts, and that stands for karate, jiu-jitsu, kempo, and boxing. So before boxing, I was doing that. And I was like 5 years old. That's where I started martial arts, from 5 to 7. And then once I turned 7, I started going to the boxing gym with my dad. But she opened her school up when I was about 10 years old. And that went from like when I was 10 all the way to about 14.
Okay.
And it was located in American Canyon, man. Like I said, I mean, that really cultivated my mindset, because I would see her pull out her little notepad and pen, and she'd have her attendance and who came, who didn't pay, you know, and check in each month. And we clean the mats, and we put the mats in the back, and it would turn into a community center by the day and a dojo at night.
Yes.
You know, and I remember her doing all these things, all these community events, just like the way I do, you know, and she kind of laid out that model for me. And then, like I said, after high school, once I started being around entrepreneurs and started, because it was you know, I don't know if it's like a Fortune 500 or whatever it is,
right?
But they really taught us the mindset, you know, and it was really just separating yourself, how to think. Robert Kiyosaki, that's the first book they gave us, you know.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
ESBI, you know what I mean, and the quadrants, right? And how we change our mindsets from employees to big businesses, right? And so I did that for about 3 years. I didn't have much money in my pockets from it, but I'll tell you what, it made me think bigger. You know what I mean? And
you're not the only. I've talked to a lot of people. You know, I've been involved with similar ventures and whatnot, and they all say the same thing. Even though that route didn't per se end up working for them, it's taught them stuff in other industries that they're now in that's just like they've never been taught.
Yeah,
you know?
Man, it's engraved in me too, man. I mean, the mentor at that time, he really showed me, like, man, he knew my background, right? He knew I was boxing and I had success in boxing. And he said, this is just a different arena, man. But it's the same habits.
Yeah.
You know, we just, you know, you read every day, you're doing this every day, and this every day, and that every day, and you'll become a champion. So I'm like, man, this is cool. I used to do this all the time. I used to go to the gym and do 8 rounds of that, 6 rounds of this. All I got to do is that. So the system, you know what I mean? The system, you know what I mean? And that's where I was able to put together the classes and see the system. And what am I trying to create through the system? And so, you know, I I'm trying to create champions.
Yeah.
You know, not just in the ring, outside the ring, and I just want to duplicate that. So I just need to have that system to be able to walk away from it and it still be successful. That's my thing. If I'm sick, if I don't show up, will it still run on its own?
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what is the goal? Is it to eventually open up duplicates of boxing gyms, you would say?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal for sure.
Right.
Just get a couple gyms.
Yeah.
But I want different gyms, man. You know, I want the boxing gym is to create a world champion, right? But then you have all these other gyms, like there's like Crunch and stuff like that, where they're doing, you know, the memberships and stuff like that, you know. Because I'll tell you what, the real champions come from nothing. You know, there's some kids in the gym that don't pay. They clean. That's their payment.
Wow.
But those are the best kids, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I keep those guys close to me, you know. Like I said, those are the ones that don't have parents. Those are the ones that have their parents working at Jack in the Box. And their dad's an illegal immigrant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and they look at to me like a father figure, man.
Right.
You know, so I make sure whatever I put out there that I'm walking in the right direction. Because I mean, I ain't got time. Sometimes I don't have time to turn around. I'm moving forward.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, you got to be in the front. You just people are gonna go their own way. And if they see something that they want to do or see that result, they'll go out there and follow you.
Yeah.
How did it feel becoming that father figure for so many youths in the Vallejo and such?
Man, it made me stop thinking of myself too at the same time, man. You know, just as much as they learn from me, I learn from them too. You know, so, you know, they say lead from the back. You know,
Yeah.
And, you know, it humbles me, man, because I don't want to be somebody who's just a fake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's just faking it.
Yeah.
You know, like, eventually you're going to get exposed. You know, so I just really try to just, at the end of the day, do what's right, man, even if nobody's watching. Because somebody's always watching.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So how has it been with that? So the transition of running your business, getting your systems down, you know, you mentioned your mom has her checklist and stuff. Are you kind of getting more into like electronic side of running business, or tell us what that's been like?
Yeah, so I have like a POS machine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything is, it could be, you know, if you pay, you could just, they'll pay every month without me having to worry about it. Yeah, automated pay.
Yeah.
I use my laptop. I have Google Sheets.
Nice.
So when everybody signs up, you know, there's a membership fee, there's a membership packet.
Right.
And then I have my filing cabinet, you know, my filing cabinet for my membership packets. I look at how many people signed up per month, and, you know, it's fascinating, man.
It is,
you know, it's cool. Like, you know, I always look at, oh, wow, I got this many this month and that many this month. And, man, where's everybody at? You know, like...
Have you reached the point where you're, I mean, and this is me just talking from what I do in like sales, and it's totally different from what you do, but have you reached the point where, and it's tough because you mentioned a lot how you're doing all this, it's for the love, right? So it's, I don't know if you've reached this point, but when you're like seeing how many people you're getting come in and then seeing how many of those you're converting into like memberships,
Residual.
right? Yeah. Or, you know what I mean?
Like
just all that type of stuff. Are you at that point yet? Or are you still just in your kind of like doing it for the love? You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. I mean, I love boxing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love boxing, and I don't ever look at a kid like it's money.
Exactly.
You know, I'm looking at it like, man, you know, this kid is not confident.
Yeah.
He needs some confidence, man.
Yeah.
Half the time, you know, 90% of these kids come in here because they're being bullied or
Exactly.
they're overweight.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, it's something in their mind where they don't think they're good enough.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, the adults, different, man. I'm looking at because honestly, I can't turn this adult into a champion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you can
This
have
is honest truth.
Your time is up.
That's where I'm like, you gotta grease my palms, bro. Like, you know, make me inspired to train, man.
Yeah.
You know. But for the kids, it's nothing, man. I mean, I love doing it. Like I said, some of them don't pay, and the parents, I tell them, you know, man, you pay me when you can this month. You know, it's not.
Nice.
And I know that's why I still love it, because if I was doing it for the dough, I'd be in your face like, today's the 3rd.
Yeah.
Where's my money at? You know what I mean? And I don't ever ask anybody for money, man.
Yeah.
You know, and if anything, they'll come up to me and tell me, hey, man, I'll have it for you, you know, in a week or two. And it's like, man, bro, it's good.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think that's really why you've had the success you've had. I mean, doing that that's huge, man. That's huge.
Man, I mean, we're a family, man.
Yeah.
You know, we have a van that pal gives me. And I remember being in the back of that van, just catching rides to go fight, you know, with the old director. Now I'm the guy driving the van.
Wow.
And now I got, you know, kids in my van And I remember we just went last week to go spar, and I put a whole bunch of kids in my van, and I came back to the gym, and all the parents were sitting there waiting for us. You know, I said, hey, man, you know, the parents, you guys can come if you want. You know, you can hop in the van. And one of the kids goes like, yeah, this is the family van.
Nice.
You know, and it hit a soft spot for me, man. I'm like, it is, man. I remember, you know, my parents being in the van with me.
Right.
Going to go fight in L.A., you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Did you ever expect your life to come this full circle?
No.
Yeah.
Never, man. I didn't think so. Honestly, I thought I was going to be penthouse, man. You know, now the gym's the penthouse, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Now it's like, you know,
mindset, right?
It is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you change your idea of success, whether it's measured in happiness or monetary, and then for you, it seems like the passion and the happiness and the joy you see from the kids that you're training and such is success to you.
Definitely, man. I mean, the fruits of my labor every day, man. I mean, I tell a kid something and I can see when he's done training, he's walking out of that gym stronger mentally than when he first walked in, man.
Yeah.
And that's how you change lives.
I want to talk about that too, because I know me personally, like with doing football, it's, you know, such a physical sport, you know, it's hard where you got to keep pushing and going the extra mile. I feel like it really shaped me, you know, to the stuff I do now, even to today. And tell me what your thoughts are on that, you know, doing boxing like that from such a young age.
Yeah, confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, like I took a kid to go fight last weekend, and I'm like, man, go sit in that chair, because after you weigh in, you go see the doctors. And usually the doctor, he'll be right around there at another table, right? And so the doctor's upstairs, and I already know what's going on. After we weigh in, the doctor's coming. Some people went to go eat. Other people are sitting there waiting for the doctor too. But it's a line of chairs, right? And this kid's standing at the table. I said, hey, go sit in that chair, man, so you can be first. You know what I mean? He's shaking. He got his water bottle, and he's got his hands crossed, and the other coach is like, man, go sit in that chair, man. You know, all right, we're getting ready to start the doctor. And he doesn't step and sit in that chair, man. And that had nothing to do other than with his confidence. He didn't feel like he was number one in that room. You know, and I remember being a kid, I'm cutting fools. I believe in myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can fight me for that chair.
Right.
You know, and some kids, you know, they don't want to be that first person. You know, that confidence, like I said, it's a day-to-day thing, man. You give a kid short-term goals, right? And this is what I use in my training, right? Because I'm building their confidence. It has nothing to, a confident fighter is a dangerous fighter. And so as long as I can instill that in them, like I said, they're going to be able to do whatever they want to do, right? But if they lack that confidence, don't matter what they want to do, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing too, right? How much of, and this is what I've heard, you know, I'm not a huge boxing fan or anything like that, but I've always heard that, like, boxing it's super mental. Yeah. So is that what you mean kind of with the confidence?
Yeah, I mean, it's 90% mental.
Yeah.
You know, and then an old cliche saying it's chess, not checkers. Right? So we're tactical, right? We're thinking about, and especially me as a coach, you know, my perspective, I'm not that guy fighting with ego anymore. You know, I'm that guy who's protecting somebody.
Yeah.
Who's paving the way for them. So, yeah, man, it has, like I said, it has to do with, you know, accountability and confidence within themselves. And I teach that every day. You know, if you're not training each round with a specific detail that you're trying to get better at, your mind is wandering. And if you're just there, you're not getting better. You have to be intentional with what you do every round.
Yeah.
And that's part of punching with purpose too. Is like, you know, if you're doing things on purpose, you're gonna see some results, man, that you want to create.
Right.
So what are the future for Punch for Purpose or with purpose? Or
with?
Punch in the future.
Man, I mean, you know, the big bold letters on a nice big building, man.
Yeah,
man. You know, that's the goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
have a waiting list on that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Also, with the logistics of running a business, you said that you had to use the POS system, spreadsheets. Who taught you that, or did you have to teach yourself that?
One of my best friends, he works for Nike now, but he was working for Google.
Oh, wow.
And Marcus,
we
sat down, man, and, you know, at one time I had like 15 kids, right? And I think I started with like 6 or 7 kids, and I called him Mark, and I said, hey, man, how do you think I should, you know, because I'm writing down names on this piece of paper, you know, month to month.
Exactly.
You know,
like, that's why I asked you, because it's
Yeah, it starts with names, man, and, you know, even like the membership packets, man, I had no idea how I wanted to go about it. Like, I literally just put myself in the Vallejo library and closed the door for a couple hours, man. I had a little cubicle.
Yeah.
I said, I can't leave until I write something out. I need to write out some sort of itinerary, something that's going to be, you know.
A system, right?
Yeah, a system, man. And so, like, a class schedule, you know. How am I going to make a schedule? The kids get out at 3 o'clock. I need them to have time to finish their homework and get in there about 4:30. 4:30 to 5:30, the first class. I can't have all the kids train at one time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'll split the age groups. First 5 years, the next 5 years, boom, boom.
Right.
Right. And I didn't think about doing the adults. I started with the kids. And that built my confidence. Because I figured, man, if I could teach kids, without a doubt, I can show some adults how to get down.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
And if a kid, or like, not saying you can mess up with them, but say like adults come into your gym, they see it's unorganized and like there's no system really, they're going to be like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. But, you know, I call my stuff structured chaos, man. It's going crazy, man.
Yeah.
Everybody else could be tripping out, but this is I'm comfortable, man. I'm comfortable. You can put me in any boxing gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And put me in my own, I know what's going on, man. It could be 30 kids in there. I'm cool. Everybody else could be tripping out. Like, no, everybody knows what they're doing. When that red bell rings, everybody's taking a break.
Yeah.
That's when I get up and I'm talking. You know what I mean? So
I really like the Tuesday tips. You know, you've been doing on social media, stuff like that. That's what it is, right?
Wisdom Wednesdays.
Wisdom Wednesdays. Okay, my bad. So are you trying to take that, you know, social media, like, you know, more consistently or anything like that? Do you have some goals with social media at all?
Yeah, so I have like this, I was joining with this guy, right? He had like a $20,000 camera system. He really excited me because he was like, man, this is all I got. And I know this is all you got. And I said, hey, this is where, right?
All right.
I said, perfect, bro. Like, okay, let's do it, man. Like, and Punch with Purpose, let's put it on YouTube. Let's go. You know what I mean? And of course, man, he lacks his confidence. You know, he just lacks the confidence, man, because he has the equipment. He just doesn't even really know how to use it.
Yeah.
You know, he had a cinematographer. The cinematographer got all his equipment stolen. So he was like, man, I'm going to go buy all the equipment and have the cinematographer let him use my equipment, but he has to teach me.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, and so he's still at like at a low level. But
yeah.
I mean, he shows me a couple of his videos, and that's the goal, man, to really try to get it on YouTube and quality shots and stuff like that. But I'm not waiting on anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm only going to get better at what I do as long
Yeah.
as I intentionally and consistently do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it starts on social media and it creates a buzz and it gets people to come into the gym, I don't know who I'm going to meet in the gym, but that connection
exactly
is where I'm rich at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm rich in my network. So
Yeah.
that's where.
And I've seen your engagement on those posts. They're you know, you get high engagement a lot from those. I mean, and that's the thing too, just giving people wisdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is going to come back, you know what I mean, with gaining followers. If you give people, you know.
And at first I was a little timid, man. I didn't want to share it because I was like, man, this is so precious to me, man. You know, they weren't in the gym with me learning this.
Yeah.
I sacrificed, like I said, a lot of fun times that I thought at the time were, you know, I sacrificed all those to get inside the gym. And now I'm just going to share this jewel with everybody on social media.
Right.
For free.
Give it away.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you have to, though, man.
Yeah.
You have to give that out in order to receive new.
Yeah.
You know? And that's part of the reciprocation.
Exactly.
So
it's
with,
fun. Go ahead.
With the system, you put it down at the gym. Do you ever have that, or do you ever think of like, yo, if I put like make a type of curriculum for social media, you know, I could get more output?
Yeah, I mean, there's other trainers out there that are just consistently posting, man. But it's like, man, like I said, if I'm not feeling it, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
that
you
realness.
Know? Yeah, you know what I mean. And you know, I ain't gonna lie. When I first started making the videos, I was trying to do it for the clout. You know what I mean? I want the clout. I want, you know. But it's like, man, all that flashy mitt stuff, that's crap, man. I mean, honestly, that's just, if you want to do fitness stuff, you can have your dad hold the mitts for you. You know what I mean? But if you're really trying to learn something and you really want to apply this to inside the boxing ring, I got to show you the real stuff, man. If not, I'm lying to you and lying to myself. You're going to hurt yourself. Boxing is not something you can fake, man. You can't go out there and play it. It's real. Yeah. You know, so when I tell you where you need to hold your hands at, man, it's because I know what it feels like when you don't.
Yeah. Talking about that, do you ever like cringe whenever you see, you know, when like rappers or celebrities or Stephen A. Smith, you know, he was posting that video.
I saw that video. Somebody tagged me. I was like, man.
What did you think about that? Were you just like, let me take you a little
like I said, the sport is being diluted too, just like anything.
Okay.
You know, you got a lot of guys that are just fitness trainers that want to say that they're boxing coaches. You know, I see these, I'll see posts $1,000 for a boxing program on how to train. You know, it's like,
Oh yeah, we see that with every type of different
Right?
industry.
I'm
Yeah,
like, man.
yeah,
And it's just scary. It is. It makes me cringe, man, because I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. This guy's gonna go out there and get hurt. You know, and you're trying. Like I said, these coaches want to be bigger than their fighters, man.
yeah,
You ain't the one taking shots, man.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's a service that they allow me to give them. It's not the other way around.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'm not servicing them. I'm servicing them.
yeah.
man,
I mean, that's what's
feel
cool
that.
too. Is like, and I'm sure you noticed when you first got, even just training people for, like you said, for free.
Mhm.
When you're teaching people and training people, it keeps you super sharp
Yes.
in whatever it is that you're teaching and training, and it makes you build your confidence like crazy.
Definitely. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't rehearse it, man.
Exactly.
That's why I said the questions, I wasn't really tripping on the questions, man. I was just like,
Right.
this is what I do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I can tell you what I do and why I do it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You know, they say if you know why, it don't matter what the what is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, when you started working like heavily, with PAL, right, Punch with Purpose, span up Punch with Purpose, how did you go about with all the community stuff? Did your mom give you insight on that as well? Did you have like anybody that was kind of helping you, like to reach out and do these events and all that?
Nah, man. I knew we were in the gym, and I would see, like, so they have art walk, they have farmers market,
Yeah.
right? And I was like, man, this is great for Vallejo, man.
Yeah.
People need to see what's going on in here, because this is, like I said, this energy is something that can't be bought. It's created, man. You know what I mean? And I wanted to showcase. You know, that's why I call them showcases. I wanted to showcase our youth, showcase what we have to offer to our community.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't charge people to get in on that. You can come in there for free, man, and just watch.
Right.
Because lives change right in front of me, man. You
Yeah.
know, and that's something that's, like I said, it's priceless.
Yeah. I saw somebody post, I forget who it was, but they were saying something like, like they were like super taken back by how much you impacted the community, without it being a monetary thing. And I thought that it was super cool that they posted that about you, because it's true. Like everything I see, and I need to go down there more. Honestly, I've been pretty bad about even just going down to your events and stuff like that. But it's been super cool to see, just everything you've been involved with and everything you've been doing for the community.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some guys are never going to fight for real. You know,
Right.
they're never going to. But when you put on a showcase, man, those guys are going in there like it's a title fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their mom showing up, their uncle from Merced is showing up,
Yeah.
man. You know, it's like they're all coming down, man, to see what this guy who just got out of jail 6 months ago is doing.
Right.
You know, I get guys that, man, I just got out. I'm talking to them like I'm talking the same way that I talk to I own the business down the street. It don't matter, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter. If you're here to learn, if you're here to humble yourself, this is it right here.
Yeah.
You know, if you got nothing else to do, man, work on yourself.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect workshop. The PAL account, bro, is stacked, man. I mean,
Right.
It ain't really nothing for
Right.
me now. When I first started, I was putting my own money into that.
Really?
That's why I was driving Uber, man. Like I was driving Uber and trying to. I didn't have enough kids to pay for the rent. I paid the rent.
Damn.
And that's when I knew, because the guy actually gave it to me. He was like, yeah, man, this gym probably won't last till the rest of the year. You know, and in my mind, I was like, man, what is a gym? Like, a gym saves lives, bro. This gym has saved my life.
Yeah.
To see this be diminished, I can't let that
Yeah,
happen.
hell
man.
no. Yeah.
I put my money into it, you know what I mean? Half of it was the dues, and the other half was for me, man. I wasn't going to let it fade. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, do you when you put on these events, like I said, I haven't been to one yet. Are you reaching out to people to sponsor or donate, or tell me how that process is too?
Yeah, so, because PAL's the nonprofit. So I'll get to use, we have a tax ID number.
I did not know this was
Yeah.
a nonprofit.
My director, like I said, he's giving me free reign, man. I mean, I'm grateful, bro. Like,
Right.
honestly, he trusts me because he raised me in this program, man. You know, and it really does have to do with financial integrity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it first started, like I said, I was putting my own money into this, man. You know, and now that I've got all these different things going, it's so important to have the paperwork behind it. So important to have those sheets to show where the money's going. Everything is receipts. Everything has, you know what I mean? I'm doing it by the books, bro, because the last thing you want to do is get your covers pulled and then you're sitting there with your hand on your dick. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going out like that, bro.
Right.
So, it took me a while to really get started and do it the right way. That's why I was getting a lot of opinions from Marcus, you know what I mean? And I even have an accountant too that helps me, for my business on the side. So it's like, man.
That's super important. Because you can try and get on QuickBooks and stuff like that, but if you get lost in that, you get in a mess.
You end up shooting yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
really bad.
Yeah.
So everything I see you putting on, we've touched on a lot about this. If you can dive deeper into, because I think listeners, it would be super helpful for them to see the process of you putting on these community events. And I know you said it was pretty easy for you. You went to the farmers markets and stuff like that. Is there anything you can let listeners know about with how to go about the stuff that you're doing?
Make a flyer.
Okay.
The first thing you do is make a flyer. That's your deadline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you have no deadline, your work it will never show. It'll never showcase, man. If you don't have a deadline, that flyer has that date, man, and that's you being accountable to what you just created.
Right.
So it's for me, it's I make a flyer, man, and I can add as I go. I can always refurbish flyer, but as long as that flyer's out and I'm publishing it and I'm putting it behind my name, man, that's where it starts, because now everybody's seeing it. You're making a visual. I don't even pay for the ads or nothing. I'll just go and I'll create it. I'll put it on the walls of the gym. You know what I mean? And most of the people want to say, hey, I'm doing this. People ask what's going on in your life.
Right.
They didn't ask me. They're asking the kid who's training. Oh, I did this. I'm doing this. You know, even their parents are starting. Oh, my son does this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, how long has he been doing it? And they see the kid and it's like, man, he's a totally different kid. From boxing, man. And what's going on down there, you know? And that's really to get those events going, man. I mean, you can go door to door.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, like I said, you can put value behind your work, man. And let the people speak for you. My mom always told me, man, he was like, she said, you don't got to tell people how good you are. Mm-hmm. When you know you're good, the other people are saying it for you. And I believe that, man. So
that's true. And it's funny that you said earlier that, you really don't even do too much marketing, but I mean, this is the most exposure. Obviously, we grew up together, so I'm seeing your stuff all the time, right? But I mean, this is the most exposure I've seen Pal ever get, in my whole time growing up in Benicia and always going out to Vallejo, and you know what I mean? So it's pretty amazing that you really don't put too much marketing dollars behind what you're doing.
No, like I said, it's just word of mouth, man.
Yeah.
People want to talk about what they do.
Yeah.
But then again, you're so organic about it. There's nothing for that fake shit, that's gonna come out. You're only getting like you said, you only are getting the people who want to come in there, and you don't want anyone who's just oh yeah, I'm doing this for all the wrong reasons,
Right.
Yeah.
Man. Some guys want to go in there and fight Deontay Wilder the first day. They think they're gonna be a champion, man. It's like you ain't never trained a day in your life.
Yeah.
I got a back door for a reason. You go out there and you let them demons out.
Right.
And it's like, hold on, man. And, I know what they're made of on day 2, man. If you show up again after getting your butt kicked, it means you got heart. And I can't teach that.
Yeah.
You either got it or you don't.
Yeah. So what do you think has been your main motivation for success from starting out until, and what's always been keeping you to get to that next level? I feel like you touched on it with your parents a lot, but anything else that kind of has always kept you going to that next level?
Yeah, just remembering that people are holding me accountable, man. That if I don't open those doors, man, those kids could go do something else, and like I said, I see Lil T every time I see a little short chubby kid who can't jump rope. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's where I started, man. And so to be able to watch them, like I said, the fruits of my labor is right there in that, man. And that's day to day, man.
Yeah.
And so that motivates me every day, man. Just opening those doors, man, and having kids right there at the door waiting for me to open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those are my guys.
Take us through your schedule a little bit, your day to day. What's your wake up time? What time you doing the crazy hour days, or tell us what it's like.
Yeah, so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I have a set schedule. I start at 6:30 in the morning. That's my first class. I have adults that usually come in there before they go to work. That's from 6:30 to 7:30. When I first wake up, man, like I said, be honest with you, sometimes I spend the night in the gym.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love it because it ain't gonna last forever, man.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll be able to buy a house or
For sure.
whatever, man. But I always feel like I gotta beat the 10 count, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm on my back, man, and it's ain't no other place, man. You know, that's home, man.
Yeah.
And I get up, man, and you know, turn the lights on, open the door, man.
Right.
The coffee shop opens at 7:30. There's 2 doors down from the gym.
There you go.
You know, I know the baristas. You know,
Yeah.
they love me in there. I go in there, get a little cup of coffee that I have. Like one of the kids made me a little flask that says Coach T on
Nice.
it. You know, that's worth $1 million to
Yeah.
me, man.
Yeah.
You know, it has a little Rocky quote on it.
Okay.
You know, so
That's cool.
I fill up my little coffee mug after I do my first class. About 7:30, between 7:30 and 8, I like to read. I like to
Nice.
read a little book, even if it's just 10 pages
Yeah.
in my little
Yeah.
office. You know what I mean? 8 o'clock, the next class starts, and that's when I usually get a lot of people coming in.
Okay.
Wow.
Anywhere from like 8 to 20 people on
Mhm.
one class.
Wow.
As of right now, I have one of my friends helping me out. You know, he was going through some tough times,
Yeah.
man. And, you know, once like me, he grew up in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and he chose a different path. And now that we're older, you know, he's got another chance. You know, he did time and stuff like that, but I see his heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't invite him. He came in here,
Yeah.
you know, and he wanted to give back to the only thing that he had,
Mm.
which was a little bit of knowledge of boxing,
Right.
you know, and good energy. And so, you know, he comes in, he helps me at the 8 o'clock class. That way I can kind of just supervise.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to work with somebody specifically because I just see them not clicking,
Yeah.
I'll go over there and, you know, work with them.
Yeah.
Between 8 to 9:15, 9:20, that's when the class ends. Then we get ready to start another class at 9:30. I have a couple people that are pretty consistent right there. 9:30, 10:30, 10:45, I have another class. And honestly, man, I don't even eat. I probably eat at like 12:30,
So
1
you,
o'clock.
I mean, kind of in a sense, it's intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Okay.
I just started putting sea moss into me though.
Really?
So yeah, I got a little container. One of my clients brought it to me. I eat 4 tablespoons of sea moss. I just
What
started
is it? Is that
last
like
week.
a powder form or?
No, it almost looks like people are asking me, "Oh, is that applesauce?"
Okay.
yeah, and it's
What does it taste like?
Oh man, it tastes like salty ocean water.
Ooh.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't mix it into juice nothing, man. I get
Get
a
in,
spoon,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna take 2 because it's 2 tablespoons each serving. I'm just taking 1 big spoonful
Yeah.
Mm.
and just taking it down, chewing it, and
Okay.
making a face and taking it down,
Yeah.
man. And you know, I feel a little different.
I've heard of people doing like coconut oil for intermittent fasting just to hold them over.
Yeah.
Just a spoonful of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I do the little black coffee thing, you know, and I think that kind of suppresses my
Yeah.
my hunger too. But then like around 12:30, 1 o'clock, because after I finish my 10:45 class, it's about 12 o'clock. My girl works at Good Day Cafe down the street. You know, she's like, "Babe, come down, get free breakfast."
There you
free
go.
lunch." You know, hey, I ain't gonna fight that. You know,
Yeah,
get my
sure.
little walk on. You know, and you know, walk back, man. And usually in between 1 and 3:30 is when I have some free time, so I'll drop in maybe at the PAL office, or if
Okay.
I have to go get some new sheets, new membership packets,
Mhm.
I'll go to Minuteman.
Yeah.
You know, they see me often
Yeah.
pretty too because I'll constantly get new membership packets. I go to the Sunshine Smoothie Box. They're one of our
Yeah.
sponsors.
Yeah.
So I'm
Nice.
like, you know, all I had to do was just put up their little posters inside the gym.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
you know, me and him are cool. He's like a hood hero too, man. You know, so we in there and
Close that up.
man,
Bro. Yeah.
like I said, I wouldn't know. So like I just
Take advantage.
yeah, I take advantage of it, man. And you know, he's a good guy, man. And you know, and then from there, I may take a little 20-minute nap if I feel like it, man. But after I haven't been napping lately off the CMOS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been feeling like, you know, running downhill on fools.
Wow.
You know, sometimes I'll do personal training between my lunch hours if somebody wants to, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then I'll pick it back up at 4 o'clock. The kids come in from 4 to 5. I'm teaching the youth from ages 8 to 12. 6:30 is 12 to 17. 6:30 we start the adults again. 6:30 to 7:30 is an adult class. 7:45 to about 8:45 is another adult class.
So you can call it easily 14-hour days.
Oh, man. But I mean, like I said, it's nothing to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, like you said, sometimes I'm saying the same thing 2, 3, 4 times in a day, because it's it's more people's first days. I mean, the first day is always the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't change that, man. There's certain things that you need to understand in order to get to day 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do nothing but personal training and train my fighters.
Okay.
So the day starts a little bit later. Tuesdays, Thursdays, I usually start about 8 a.m. I got to train this guy, you know. And it's funny because nobody in the boxing gym, I don't address, if you're cool, I don't address you by your first name. You got a nickname.
Okay.
And I picked that up from one of my mentors in boxing. It's just like, you know, a real boxing gym, you don't know anybody's name in there.
Yeah.
So, you know, my first guy on Tuesdays, Thursdays is Arguello. His first name's Alexis, and a famous boxer was Alexis Arguello.
Okay.
So I just call him Arguello.
Okay.
Nice.
But yeah, we got multiple names in there, man. And then I have a couple clients, 8, 9, 10. Then once again, I'm taking another break about 11 o'clock. You know, it seems like everybody else is at work, so I'm just going to go hit Sunshine Smoothie Box. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm always just trying to think of new things, man. I do clothing line, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys hit me up. We have, now Sundays, we do in-the-ring sessions.
I saw.
Which is exciting.
Okay. Yeah,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday I'm usually always open though. I have clients. That's how I get my money right there.
Nice.
On personal training. Usually, and I'll finish about 1 o'clock. So
Okay.
from usually I start at 8 a.m. go 8 to 1.
Nice.
People try to hit me day of. It's like a barber though, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
you should have hit me.
Yeah.
We can get you in next weekend if you
I
want.
get
You know.
that, bro. I mean, now, you know, with me being realist, I get that all the time. Like, hey, can you meet us there at 1 o'clock? I'm like, you were tripping.
Yeah, right. I'm like, man.
Like, I don't even care if I'm near the area. You were tripping. So we always like to end the show by, you know, asking our interviewee, if you were to give young Tyler one piece of advice, what do you think that advice would be? Any age, any time in your life, what do you think that advice would be?
Man, well, like I said, I see little Tyler every day, man.
Yeah.
And I always tell him, keep the same thing, hands up, man.
Yeah.
One more round, man.
Yeah.
That's all I could say, man, is, you know, life is a fight,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and as soon as you lay on your back and you stay down, that's when you're never going to get back up, man.
Yeah.
I always just say, always get back up, man, you know. Life ain't that hard. It's a fight, but it ain't that hard.
Right.
Yep.
You just got to go out there, man, and keep moving.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And tell the people where they could follow you, and you know.
Yeah, so we have the boxing gym page. It's at Vallejo Pal Boxing on Instagram, and then my personal page is Samoan Southpaw.
Left-handed?
Left-handed,
Me too.
baby.
Oh,
That's
oh.
right. That's you.
You left-handed?
We're all
Man, I don't ever been in a room with 75% left-handed,
That's
right?
Anything to
This
try
is a
southpaws.
change. This is a change.
Yeah, I think you're really gonna like our next guest. You know, once we get all this stuff out, he's a boxing writer for Bleacher Report.
That's dope.
Yeah, so I think you're really gonna.
Yeah,
I'll have
no,
to
that's
introduce
cool,
you guys
man.
down
For
the
sure,
road.
introduce
Yeah.
me, man. I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
we got a lot of up-and-coming.
Right.
Coming fighters, yeah.
So yeah, I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. Perfect.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for listening to this episode. It was so much fun to chat with Tyler and see what he's up to. If you want to stay connected with us, follow our Instagram at All Things Success Podcast. We're dropping new episodes every Sunday on YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes. So be on the look for that. And until then, have a good one.